Hi, I'm Valovirta, and on this video I will check out the BUGERA PS1 Power Soak. With this passive device you can crank your 100 watt tube amp and play at bedroom levels. Okay, so what we got here? Really simple device. Like I said, it's passive, so it doesn't need any power. There's a soak control where you can lower the volume of your amp when it's cranked. So when it's 100, it still reduces about 50% of the power. So it's always on when you hook this up. There's no bypass switch. And then there's a line out which you can send into another power amp or your audio interface and record a direct sound from the amp and then use an impulse response later. The back panel is fairly simple. There's emulated microphone output, so it kind of cabinet. Well, that's a cabinet sound, nothing too inspirational. Maybe a good sound engineer could EQ it to be, fairly good, but it is what it is. The line out. So, like I said, you can send a direct signal from your amp to your audio interface, DAW, and use an impulse response, or to another power amp, cabinet, and cabinets and so on. Then there's speaker out, which you connect to your speaker. I have a Fryette Fat Bottom 4x12 with Eminence P50E 50 watt speakers. The kind of best of both worlds from greenbacks and vintage 30s. One of my absolute favorite cabinets, and I'm using a Audix i5 microphone to record the sound. Then there's outputs 4, 8, 16. So depending on your cabinet, you connect your head into this. So I have a 16 ohm out here, 16 ohm switch on, because the cabinet is mono, it's either 4 or 16 ohms. So I use that. When you use this on stereo, it's 8 to 8 ohms. So 16, and then speaker out to cabinet, which is a 16 ohm cabinet. And I'm recording this with a small, Rode, whatever how you pronounce it, small condenser microphone, so you hear the room sound, so you actually hear the levels in this room. Then I also will record a microphone sound and a direct sound, which we're gonna compare later in the video also. Okay, let me hook this up, grab my guitar and play some riffs. Okay, so the signal chain is my guitar, cable goes to my pedal board where I have bus SD1 on, then it goes to the amplifier, then from the speaker out it goes here into the 16 ohm input, and this goes out to the 16 ohm input of the cabinet. And then I have a line out signal which goes into my Focusrite Scarlett 2i2 audio interface and then into my DAW. Now it's on. Let's put the master on 0 and the soak to 100, which is now, it's like 50. It reduces the power 15%, but it's still loud as, 100 watt 800. Let me just press record. Alright, now I'm recording the DI signal and the signal from the cabinet and also the room mic, which is on top of my camera. So, what you do with tube amps, especially, you know, 800. It sounds, well, quite thin and not powerful. Not until you have the master, I would say around 3, it starts to breathe. I think the sweet spot on this one is between 4 or 6, depending how much power and saturation and that grittiness you want. Above that, I think it just goes a little bit like mushy, a bit too much. So now I have kind of the, and yeah, this line level, you set the output level of the line so that it doesn't, you know, clip when it goes to the audio interface. All right, so basically off, nothing, and I barely opened it, and it's this loud. You can hear it's a bit hollow, obviously because the power tubes are hardly working. So what we're gonna do is let's put this to 50. You can, you know, increase the volume, but since this is 800, one of the loudest tube amps ever, let me start at 0. So there's nothing coming, and then let's increase this. Master is at 5. You hear the rumble, hopefully the microphone is picking up, but now I feel that the volume is still like, but there's this because the power tubes are working. So it's still like probably you can hear me, and probably you can hear my strings rattle, and probably you can hear my strings on this one too, because I'm so close, so this is kind of picking up the sound a bit. And you might ask that, does this cut anything off from the sound? Well, it's a passive thing. I don't think it should be cutting anything, at least sounds great to me. Obviously, the sound isn't the same if I would have this off, because then, you know, this part of the sound is, you know, your speakers move air, you get a little bit speaker sag, compression, even a little bit like speaker distortion if you really crank the amp loud. So, I mean, these are 50 watt speakers, so they don't need that much power that, let's say, you know, EV 300 watt, what Zakk Wylde used. To be able to get any kind of movement, you need to really crank the amp. But these are great, and feel the rumble. Let's increase the master a bit. So, yeah, it sounds great, and I've had this now for a couple of days. Of course, it heats a little bit because master is at 6. So without this, this will be insanely loud. And like I said, yeah, it probably when you record it like this, it doesn't sound so powerful, but that's just because the speakers, you know, the signal that goes from the amp through these two speakers, it's so quiet that the speakers hardly move. The more you move, the more they move, the more air they move, the more powerful and punchier sound you get. But for playing at home with a 4x12 cab and with the amp, it's like... Let's take the SD off. It's great. I mean, the Rode durability, I have no idea. And I guess this is basically a copy of a Jet City Amps Attenuator, designed by Mike Soldano. Picture there. It's like 100 euros, give or take. So, yeah, pretty good. Okay, now let's go to the Scream and listen the sound, the direct sound and the microphone sound, what I just recorded. Okay, so now here we are on the screen, and let's listen first the DI sound. It's a DI sound. Then when we add an impulse response, so I have a STL Tones Libra impulse response mixer here, and I have a Jens Bogren's fantastic IR pack, and I have my go-to IR Sound of God EQ2. So let's put this on and listen. Alright, cool, that was the IR. And then let's listen to the cabinet with the microphone. Obviously, since it was so quiet and I was playing so close, you will hear my string noise and a little bit other noise, because the amp, if you wanna get a good mic sound, you know, you have to be in another room, or I would have to have it really loud, but that was not the purpose, because, you know, it's at bedroom level, so it sounds like this. Okay, and together let's pan the DI sound with the Jens Bogren IR to left, and then this cabinet sound to right, and let's listen them. So, as you can hear, the DI sound is, you know, it's good with the impulse response. So, yeah, conclusion. Great unit as far as what I've tried here. No problems. Does what it's supposed to do, you know, reduces the volume so you can cramp your amps and play at bedroom levels. The DI sound it was a DI sound, sounded good with the IR impulse response. And well, the cabinet sounds obviously, because this isn't meant for recording, because you know, in order to get a really punchy cabinet sound, you have to, you know, it has to be loud enough so that the speakers move, but still the sound was pretty good. Obviously you heard my strings because I'm pretty hard picker. So this isn't a load box like the Sir reactive load that I use. You have to have a cabinet with that. That's just an attenuator. So you have to have a cabinet as a load. This just reduces the output volume from your amp that goes to the speaker. So don't use this alone, but if you have a speaker, then you can hook a cable from the direct out to your audio interface and into your door and add an impulse response later and get good guitar sounds. How it compares to the Sir reactive load, which is like 8 times more expensive, I haven't tried yet, but I will do a comparison later. What are the differences, you know, of the direct sound. Obviously there's more things you can do with the Sir reactive load, but this is really good and fairly cheap option to crank your amp into a 4x12 cabinet or whatever cabinet and play at bedroom levels and also record a direct sound. I played with this now a couple of days and I haven't come up with anything negative. Thus, it does what it's supposed to do. I'll put the links in the description below if you wanna check out some more info about the product. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Until next time. Take care. Bye.